Hello people and welcome back to News Review. In this week's news, there is info on the new guild event as the Mid-Autumn Festival is coming up once again. I'll be going over all the new cards in this week's news, giving info on how you can get them and whether you should get them. If you're a new or returning player, I do recommend you check out my new player guide first, because it'll help you understand what I'm saying in these videos. As the full news is quite long, I won't bore you by presenting every single thing in the full news, so open up the patch notes link in the description if you want to follow along, and let's get right into it. First off, we have the guild event, the guild mission cards. These are raid characters that will appear. These are old guild mission cards. The first three kind of suck as their effects are very minimal. You can look them up if you want. The fourth one, Hou Yi, is still one of the few dark members that can launch a large number of earth attacks, even though situations that need that are becoming less and less common, as you can probably just, launch like one earth attack and kill the enemy that way. But that is what is unique about that last card. Moving on to the new guild event card. This is Guanghan Palace, I think that's how you pronounce that. Hard without pinyin. This is a fire god. Don't ask me why. This is literally a building. CD6 for 1 round. If runestone movement starts with an attribute of runestone, each god launches 1 extra attack with that attribute, and if you start with a heart runestone, you launch non-attributive attacks instead. And at the end of each round, turn all runestones into enchanted runestones of the last type used to end runestone movement. This is not affected by your time tunnel shenanigans. If you touch one type runestone, the first type runestone you touch will be the attribute that you attack with. However, the last type will be the type runestone you convert into, so this could be a way to get around it if you want to launch attacks of one attribute but convert the board into another attribute for future use. This is a fine card, I think, kind of unique, but situations that call for this, I'm not quite sure. As always, there will be thresholds for both guild scores and personal scores. As always, by getting a 20k guild score, you get a skill level max of the newest guild card, which in this case is the building. For the personal scores, a noteworthy thing is the cards that you get there at the bottom left. Out of the 2 cards that personal scores give you, Celia, the one on the left, sucks, but Michelle, the one on the right, is a pretty good Machina card, so she is worth keeping around. Moving on, this is not a guild card anymore. This is a new challenge stage card. This is a new Nocturne, a light elf, CD6, refresh the protective field, clear the negative effect of black and white zone, release lock skills of light members and elves, and all Nocturnes released so far will enter a hyperstate for 2 rounds, and for 2 rounds, upon skill activation at the end of each round, turn the column below the character into enchanted elf heart runestones and the columns below other elves into enchanted elf runestones of the corresponding members' attributes. The unique part about this card is that it is the second ever real light unlocker after Javanor, a light dragon, and Arrow of Novelty jackpot in the old seal. As there are very many light cards that actually do unlock something, be it their own series or themselves or some specific cards, just not everyone. So I believe Javanor is actually the only one that in the past that unlocks everyone else. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is also an elf unlocker, but elves already do have unlockers, so that's a little less important, or unique rather. Last point here is a bonding skill. If you do own the Blazing Mentor Nocturne, the first ever Nocturne, the Fire Elf Nocturne, she does get an ability to ignore initial shield when you dissolve the character's character runestone in the first batch. Speaking of the original Fire Elf Nocturne, she did get a skill buff for, quite literally everything, but there's not really anything special. They didn't change how she works fundamentally, which makes a lot of sense. It's just a skill buff. But yeah, every multiplier from the leader skill to the team skill to the active skill just got tweaked a little. I guess the main addition is that she can now ignore duet and quartet elemental shields when she dissolves groups of runestones in the multiples of 5. But apart from that, it's not really anything special. It's just every number has become higher, basically. and so now she's viable once again as an elf leader, although the timing is a little weird because, you know, considering ALO just came out, and also freaking what's Elvish Perennials, yeah, those are still alive and kicking. Like releasing, or I mean getting a viable elf leader now seems kind of weird. I'm not sure why they did that. I mean, people were saying that Nocturne sucked in the beginning, and you know, she did, but waiting so long to buff her now that there are other like OP elf leaders just seems a little weird to me. Anyway, moving on to the last new card in these news. It is a new Daji. Manhead just loves Daji. I mean, everyone loves Daji. That's why she's in here. Daji's in the Evoking Coin Shop twice. This is the second Daji in the Evoking Coin Shop, and this is an Evoking Coin Shop card. This is a Water Daji this time. CD6, remove Tornado. That's actually insane. And by the fact that I didn't even put in the bullet points, it's that this card has even better abilities. Removing Tornado has actually become a little common, to be honest, and also not necessary if your team is good enough. But removing Tornado is still good just as an ability for a card to have. Forward round team recovery will be lowered to 0. This is the third ever elf card to reduce your recovery to 0 after a Cyan Nodal, a Transmigration card, and Sign-In, the subject part from SAO. And upon skill activation at the end of the round, arrange runestones according to their types from top left to right. This arranging is essentially a better version of converting, where I don't think it gets affected by an anti-conversion shield. All runestones can be dissolved by aligning 2 or more of them in the first batch. Excellent. And each elf launches 1 extra non-attributive attack. Can be good in certain situations, but kind of niche. For the final rankings of the free cards, the Palace is pretty limited in its use, which is why I put it in, you know, a lower than mid tier. The new Nocturne is a good light unlocker, but that's about it. And the new Daji is pretty versatile, but nothing, you know, vital to a team comp. So, you know, in mid tier. Now they can farm the new Daji anyway. Once again, Yanxi's last return is still running up to the end of the month. This is literally the last return. This is the last week that Yanxi will be running for. I've created a nice table here showing where you can get each Yanxi. You can pause to read it more clearly. But that will be it for this week's news review. Leave a like if you liked it, comment below if you have anything to say to me, and subscribe if you like them in general. It really helps the channel out, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!